Hello again. A recent vintage acquisition of a half set of clubs and a bag containing some old golf balls got me thinking again about the approaching golf ball rollback. So let's make a video. Before we begin though, I know that this is an extremely interesting video and you'll want to rewatch it many times, so here are some time checks to help you out in that regard. It's been a while now since the announcement by the R&A and the USGA that golf balls will be rolled back with new testing limits. Some dust has settled and the news has dropped off the front pages. Now would be a good time to revisit the changes and then make an extreme rollback playing test. Let's broadly remind ourselves of just what was said. New test limits are to come into force for professionals in 2028 and for amateurs in 2030. I'm not going to go into full details of what the changes are. They can be found easily enough with an internet search. The headline is that for the longest hitting golfers, a loss of distance of around 5% can be expected if they're currently using the longest golf balls. The slower your swing speed, the less percentage distance you'll lose. So for average club golfers, there'll be little, if anything, to see. Many current balls already meet the new test conditions, roughly 1/3 of current balls in fact. Generally, these are the softer balls. Personally, I think that the rollback has not been strong enough, and I'll discuss why at the conclusion of the video. Coming back to the golf balls that inspired this video, there were 3 King Sonic golf balls in the bag, made in Japan, and they seem typical of the low-priced Japanese imports of the time. Not quite the standard of the better British-made balls, and quite soft. I'd guess that they're solid rubber in construction. What we really want to know, though, is how they compare to both modern balls and one of their contemporary balls. So let's make a precise scientific study. Before I go on to the course with the King Sonic ball, I thought it would be useful to do some highly scientific testing comparing the King Sonic to today's balls. So I have here a Titleist Pro V1. I'm not sure what date this one is, but it's in pretty good condition. So that's a 1.68 ball. This is a 1.62. I also have a Callaway Super Soft. This is a pretty recent version, I think. And then I'm also going to compare with another sort of similar period ball, a Dunlop 65. This is a 1.62. And as a matter of interest, I've said previously that the quality of old balls depends very much on how they were stored and how they've borne up over the time since they were made. So I've also got another Dunlop 65 here under number 4. If I can get those all lined up. So I'll test that one as well. Right, let's have a look at the setup for this very scientific test. Here's the testing apparatus. Using a precise dropping rig, namely a door frame, each ball will be dropped from the top of the frame onto a solid tiled floor. I calculate that the ball speed will reach just over 14 miles per hour when it hits the ground, a long way short of actual club head and ball speeds, but hey, you can't have everything. The rebound height will be accurately measured using a tape measure, and we can then analyse the results and see how the balls compare. Okay, let's get down to business. King Sonic, drop 1. King Sonic, drop 2. Pro V1, drop 1. Pro V1, drop 2. Callaway Super Soft, drop 1. Callaway Super Soft, drop 2. Dunlop 65, number 5, drop 1. Dunlop 65, number 5, drop 2. Dunlop 65, number 4, drop 1. Dunlop 65, number 4, drop 2. Let's review the results. The table shows the ball model, the two rebound heights for each ball, the average of those two, the ball recovery as a percentage of rebound over drop height, and finally the recovery compared to the best performing ball, which in this test was the Callaway Supersoft. It's interesting that this outperformed the Titleist, which is generally regarded as being one of the longest balls in production at the moment. This is probably due to the fact of the very low ball speed, and the core of the ball wasn't being energised in the way that it was designed to be, and the aerodynamics of the balls didn't come into play either in this test. The King Sonic came in at 80% of the Callaway Supersoft, and the Dunlop 65 slightly better at 82%. But what I said earlier about how ball storage can affect a ball's performance is visibly noted here, in that the second Dunlop ball only achieved 65% of the rebound of the Callaway Supersoft. Anyway, that's enough of this analysis. Time to get out onto the course with the King Sonic and a real-life golfing situation and see how it performs. I've just finished frustrating 6 holes with the Tom Reiki clubs. If you've not watched that already, then it's on the channel. I'll put a link in the description below. I'm now going to play 4 holes with the King Sonic balls. Let me get those in the viewfinder there so we can see them. King Sonic, it's a 1.62 ball made in Japan. I'll be using the Tom Reiki clubs again, and here are the lofts for those as a reminder. I've no idea how far these are going to go. Don't think it'll be very far. Let's see. I'll set my yardage marker, which will give me a clue as to how far they're going, depending on the quality of the strike. Right. It felt soft, it went high. Should be in the first cut. See when we get down there. Right, the drive went 165. It was a bit of a high ball, so it wasn't totally down to the ball, but I've got 330 odd left. I'm going to hit the 5 iron. Oh, it was a good strike. That was a very good strike. Again, it felt very soft. I don't think that'll have gone very far. I'll take a measure. Right, well, that to a 5 iron went 131 yards. The strike I got, I would have expected 160 around there normally. So clearly a long way down. In fact, if I just do some mental maths, that is of what I'd normally get. I'm hitting a 3 wood now. 190 to go. Front flag. Good strike, just faded a bit. Missed the bunker. We'll measure that one. The 3 wood went 164 yards, so I think we're about 20% down. I left myself a chip over a bunker. Got a bit of green to work with. Got a sand wedge. Let's see if I can get up and down. Ooh, just short of the front, just short of the green, otherwise that could have been very good. 2 putts for a 6 net 5 then. Don't know how this will behave off the putter. It's slightly firmer than I have been doing. Still came up short. Feels ever so soft, the ball. This to halve the hole though. I have not liked this putter today. That was careless though. Right, 145 middle into a slight breeze. Sonic King ball or whatever it was. I went with a 3 iron, strong 3 iron. I think I'm going to have to hit that well to get it there. Oh no. That could be good night Vienna for that one. Terrible swing. Trying to force it. I found the ball. My nearest point of relief will be even further in this bundu, relief from the path, that is. I can't go that way because that will be further from my nearest point of relief. So I'm just going to whack it with the sand iron and try and pop it out. I need to come down pretty steep on this. Well, it's out. On the green. Ooh. First decent putt I've made all day, that was. But that's a 5. 412 yard par 4. Realistically, this is out of range, even with 2 very good shots with the 80% ball. I think the main thing I need to do is get this airborne, so I'm going with the 3 wood. I want to make sure I carry over the trees if I'm on that line. Try not to force it. Yeah, shouldn't be too bad. Well, that was a pretty decent strike with the old Sonic King Sonic, sorry. It went 190 odd, just over 190 yards, and it leaves me about the same. So theoretically I could get there, but I've got all sorts of rubbish to go over, so I'm just going to play the 5 iron, try and play it out to the right, those 2 trees there. That's right on line. That looks good, that does. Ooh. Well, I thought that pitched close. That pitched very close. What have we got there? 9 inches. So I've got this for a par. Make sure I get it there. Five net 4, so that's a halved hole. Oh no. What kind of a swing was that? The ball is sort of hanging a bit in the long grass, so I'm going to try the 3 wood. Just try and make a smooth pass at it. There's a lot of crap that it's got to get through once I've hit it. Out and running, let's see how far it went. Right, that chop out went 104 yards. It's left me 181. I'm just going to try and do another smooth 3 wood into the wind. One thing this ball does tell me is you can't force it. There's no telling where that went. Forced it. Right, I have found it. Got 90 yards to go. I'm just going to thump it with the 9 iron and hope. Came out. Right, how many have I had? Terrible tee shot. Forced out with a 3 wood. Another poor 3 wood. 9 iron to here. So I've had 4. This is my 5th. 40 yards, sand iron. I think the shorter the shot, the less the ball seems to lose distance, which I suppose makes sense. The harder you hit it, the more it'll compress, and yeah, gone over the back, that one. I've lost the hole, but we'll play it out so you can see my super short game. That's an 8, and I lose the match 3 and 2. I'm going to play the last 2 holes anyway, try and accept the limitations of the ball. Right, I just missed the deeper long stuff, but it's sat down a little bit. I've got 147 to go, a bit of following breeze, so I'm just going to try and hit the 5 iron, hit it cleanly. Yeah, I've just gone a little bit long there. I've got some weeds growing near my ball. Hopefully I'll dig those out when I play the shot. Do a bit of course care. Sand iron. That's pretty good. And I've weeded the bunker. A rare putt for par. Oh, it's just gone racing by. That's a 5. Last hole. I'm going with the 1 wood. See if I can hit a decent one. Not try and force it. Scuffy. Right, my drive went 162. I've got myself 308 yards left. So I'm just trying to get a nice smooth 3 wood. Hit it about 160 if I can. Oh, that was a good hit. Up the right side. Well, that well struck 3 wood went all of 156 yards. The Sonic King ball is certainly no Sonic the Hedgehog. I've got 151 left, which theoretically is another 3 wood, but I'm going to hit the 5 iron. Not quite so uphill this one, and if I can just get it running onto the green, I'll be happy with that. It just drops out the sky like a stone. Might have got there though, or at least near the front. Well, I have made it onto the green, so that's my first green in regulation with the King Sonic. Good speed, but not a good line. What's that I've got then? 5 foot for the par. And the way I've been putting today, come on, think positive. Yes. Par on the last. Let's have a quick look at the King Sonic then after 6 holes of play. It still looks pretty round, no cuts or splits on the ball. It's a bit grubby from grass stains, but other than that, it seems to have held up pretty well. So apart from the miserable distance, the ball has done okay. Before I summarise the findings, a very quick look at the stats. I lost the bogey match 3 and 2, although I do feel I should have had a few more shots, bearing in mind the short distance ball. My gross score was 10 over par. I hit 2 fairways, 1 green in regulation, and I took 13 putts, partly down to that short one I missed on the first hole. Anyway, overall, not a disaster considering the ball I was playing with and the fact that I was 4 over par on 1 hole. Now let's summarise the findings. Firstly, let's go back to the score. Although at first glance it was pretty poor, most of the mistakes weren't down to the ball, but more my trying to hit it harder to make up for the shorter distance rather than playing for the yardage that was achievable. The first hole was a 516 yard par 5 and I was almost level with the front of the green in 3 shots. If we assume that the Sonic King ball was travelling 80% of the distance of a current ball and we divide the whole yardage by 80%, that equates to a hole of 645 yards. I'd be happy to be just short of such a hole in 3 shots any time. The second hole was just a dreadful tee shot, resulting from me trying to hit the ball too hard again. The third hole, I hit 3 good shots, and dividing by 80% again, this 412 yard par 4 becomes a 515 yard hole, so to have a sand iron approach is fine on such a hole. The fourth hole was just a catalogue of bad shots, again trying to force the ball instead of working with its capability. Applying the 80% divisor, the fifth hole became a 419 yard par 4. Again, I'd always be happy to be greenside in 2 on such a hole. The final par 5 goes from being a short uphill par 5 of 458 yards to a monster uphill of 573 yards when we apply the 80%. For me to make the green in regulation was a solid achievement, and I was very satisfied to do it. Reaching closer targets with a ball that doesn't travel as far is equally as rewarding and skillful as reaching more distant targets with a ball that travels further. But here lies the problem. Most golfers don't seem to be happy hitting a rollback ball a shorter distance, even if they've played just as solid a shot to do so as with a current ball. But there are lots of arguments for shorter balls, all of which have been made before. But let's take a look at 2 of the biggest arguments. The first one is that less land is required for a golf course, and therefore less maintenance is required for the smaller area. The second comes down to the time to play around. Pace of play has long been a hot potato. The time to play around will be drastically reduced, less distance to travel, and you're more likely to find your ball if it's a little wayward. Less time searching for lost balls will be a result. I'm not saying that an 80% rollback ball is required, although I'd be more than happy with it, especially if spin on balls was increased too, so that more skill was required to control the ball. But I do feel that the 95% we seem to be heading for is no more than a nod in the right direction and will soon be negated by other advances in technology. And while I'm on my soapbox, I'd like to see a reduction in driver size for professionals to a 200cc maximum, and they must use simple blade construction irons and putters. Let's really see who the best golfers are. Well, enough rambling from me. Time to get off my soapbox. Hope you're still with me, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.